This last unit in 8th grade science is called Forces in Motion. In the first lab, you will learn about motion in scientific terms and how it is graphed. Read the introductory paragraph and notice that a motion graph is one more example of a model. Read the prediction and use the scribble tool to sketch how you think a distance versus time motion graph would appear for the activity described. The directions on slide 2 tell me to create a motion graph by walking away from a motion detector slowly for 2 seconds, pausing for 1 second, and then walking toward the detector slowly for 2 seconds. This motion is then repeated, only walking with a quicker speed. Here's the first recording where I walk slowly. Here's the second recording where I walk quickly. You will sketch the record from my 2 motion graphs using the scribble tool into this graph on slide 3 under step 9. Here are both tracings on the same graph. The red is the tracing of the slower motion and the purple is the tracing of the faster motion. Move on to the data table in slide 4. I will match the motion indicated by a graph generated by the LabQuest. After you watch me move, in the last box of the row, you will write a description of the motion. You should, for each segment, include whether I walked toward or away from the detector, for how many seconds, how much distance I covered, whether I moved slowly or quickly, or whether I paused. This is the first graph I will attempt to match. Copy it into the data table. Here is the graph showing my match. Now write your narrative into the last box in row 1. Here is the second graph I will attempt to match. Copy it into the appropriate place in the data table. Here is my motion match. Copy your narrative of this motion into the last box in row 2. Here is the third graph that I will match. Copy it into row 3. Here is my motion match of graph 3. Write it into the last box in row 3 of the data table. Notice that as I get very close to the detector, there's artifact. This is the fourth graph that I will match. Write it into row 4 of the data table. Write your narrative of motion 4 into the last box in row 4. Go ahead and complete all the questions on slides 6, 7, and 8.